Asylum is a 2014 film that is odd. What we have here are two products mixed together like some abomination. Instead of going through this review like normal, I'll instead approach this one differently. For starters, what we have here is essentially what you'd have if you mixed both 300 films together into one project. The normal film part is based around a SWAT team being sent into an asylum that has recently had a riot in which the inmates have taken over. This sounds oddly familiar. The team, led by McGahee, played by Stephen Rea, soon finds that they are in over their heads, as this is not a simple riot, and they may be caught between the battle of good and evil. Did that sound exciting? I would hope so, because it's what I was told to expect in the trailer. However, that is not the case, as instead, this is all just a film in a film, and our actual story is that two guys are sitting down watching through the semi-final cut of the film project, all while working with a sleazy producer. Oh, and fans of Who Killed Captain Alex can rejoice, as this film comes with a video joker that you cannot turn off. Or, well, I guess what they thought passes for a video joker. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Who created this brew? Well, the original credit goes to one Chris Mancini, who wrote the original script. Now, he attempted to pitch his script to After Dark Studios in the hopes that he could use this film as his directorial debut. However, the producers saw an opportunity to save money, so they bought the script, but sent it to another, cheaper director. This director was Todor Chapkanov, a native to Bulgaria, which is also where they filmed, again in an attempt to save money. They also brought in another writer to rewrite the script. Now, I can only find one source that lists his name, that being Tex Wall, but I'm unsure as to how real that name is. However, as happens with 99% of all studio interference, this has not proved to be a smart decision, as what After Dark received was complete and utter garbage.
So we'll be getting a cut soon?
Yeah, that's right. And we can save it in post, right?
Absolutely not.
Fantastic. Excellent. Okay, good meeting, people.
So did they cut their losses? No, this studio was invested and they were willing to pitch more money into this trash fire, and they did just that, bringing back Mancini and giving him a meager amount of cash to try and salvage something out of this mess. And thus we have Asylum. The film begins with a text scroll that is basically true events with names changed to protect identities. Surprised they didn't attempt to pull it based on a true story. We see Father Richard, played by Hristo Shopov, giving confessions to churchgoers. Soon, a strange and heavily bass-boosted man enters, and despite his poor audio, Padre here decides to roll with it.
How so?
I think of hurting him, burning him.
I see.
However, as the strange man reveals details of Padre's past and the booth catches on fire, he departs. Some of the ugliest text I've ever seen dissolves in. Honestly, they should have just used Comic Sans at this point. What follows is my exact words upon first watching this thing.
What the fuck is this?
It's that movie they filmed in Bulvania.
Bulvania, is that a real country?
Sure.
These two are going to be our video jokers for the rest of the film. What's a video joker? Well, basically me, but more annoying, and for the whole film. And you can't turn them off to simply watch the film. What's the quality of the jokes you can expect?
Why do they have yellow guns? Are they filled with pee-pee?
Piss poor. I won't get used to seeing unfinished effects and text detailing what needs to be done. Now, while something like Velocipaster did this tongue-in-cheek, this is in fact done because they simply didn't finish the film. Okay, so our SWAT team and their radio backup is comprised of... Bruce Payne as Sharp, no, not that one. They barely had the budget for Stephen as is. Stephen Rea as McGahee.
Is there anything else?
Yeah, it's McGahee.
Pretty sure it's McGahee.
It's McGahee?
McGahee.
Demeter as Tanner. Velazar Binnev as Sergeant Quinn. Caroline Ford as Holloway. Radoslav Ignatov as Wilder. Lena Kuzova as DeMarino. Joe Montana as Barnett. Curtis Nordstrom as Gilmartin. Edward Joe Scargill as Phillips. Stephen Sharrave as Marduk. Steve as Powell. Jason Wong as Lim. But just as they're about to reach the asylum, we cut back to the meta plot, and we get to see the only character worth anything in this film.
And I say remove this production of Albania.
We have all the pre-production in Louisiana.
Yeah, I know. But Yergi makes an excellent point of why we should shoot in Albania. Yergi?
Is cheaper.
Don't know who the actor is, as absolutely no one in these additional scenes, including the editors at the start, are credited. I've checked IMDb, this movie's credits, and several other reviews and documentary sites with nothing to show for it. So in honor of the one and only, I will name him Bol. Bol here is a man behind the excellent decision of filming in Bulvania. To be fair, how can you argue with his logic?
You are the line producer of this organization. You're a critical part to this whole machine. I need you to be on board with this, because if you're not...
I'm not on board with this at all.
Well, fuck you. We are shooting in Bulvania.
Back we go with the draft film as we are told a scene is missing and that the SWAT team are going in with non-lethal rounds. I repeat, they are sending in a SWAT team into a clearly violent and hazardous situation without any form of self-defense outside of non-lethal rounds. And we see how well this goes as like a goofy music video, hostiles leap from every nook and cranny to ambush half the squad while the other half watch, even though they look bored to death. I hope you aren't familiar in the least with sound effects, or else you'll be driven nuts with all the basic sounds used. I'm not sure if they were meant to be placeholders or the actual people behind the Bulgarian project actually meant to use them. Oh, and the radio backup team loses contact with everyone save for their man on the inside, and oh, is this just the greatest of acting.
What is happening?
Team 1, come in. This is Baird, do you copy?
Your team is fine.
What?
Everything's fine now. We're all okay.
What the fuck, is he kidding?
Now for the rest of the main film plot, there's simply a lot of walking around and poor quality scares. Basically all you need to know is that Stephen discovers Father Richards and we learn they are brothers. We learn how to pronounce Stephen's name both in the film and in the film story. Each of the SWAT members get picked off one by one in often idiotic or boring ways. DeMarino here, played by Lena Kuzova, gets at least a little bit of build-up. First she meets one of the inmates via a jump scare, and later when she twists her ankle, she's left alone in a room with Jump Scare Man. Oh, and she isn't separated or anything. No, they just sit her down and leave her knowingly alone with the man who's clearly unstable. Well, she gets a bunch of scares before eventually locking herself off in another room. However, unedited ghosts are in there, and they kill her off screen. One member is apparently eaten to death. Another gets drowned in a tub. A flashback scene is done with nothing more than storyboards. Oh, and another member gets an electric death via a hot satanic Bulgarian nurse.
Check it out. A grown man who doesn't know how electricity works.
So things come to a head as the final three make a desperate and honestly pretty sad last stand. They're fighting demonically possessed inmates and only Stephen has an actual firearm. Even then he's not a great shot. Eventually Padre shows up and goes full necromancer, bringing the dead inmates back into his ranks. The survivors escape via a quick Molotov, but soon enough get captured by inmates and their former team members. So Padre attempts to convert both Holloway and Stephen into his lieutenants, basically making them his horsemen. He manages to actually get Holloway onto his side via keeping her from burning while in flames. Well, he tries it with Stephen, but I guess it's a one-use spell as Stephen drags Padre into the flames. Whilst they burn together, Holloway recovers from her possession, somehow, and quickly exits stage right.
Remember in the 90s? When independent films decided they didn't need to have an ending? They just stopped?
Yeah, that was such bullshit.
Just because you do it knowingly doesn't always make it good. Especially when the film is as botched as this one. Oh, but what are the meta-story and the radio backup side plot? Well, the latter is literally the worst acting in this film, and when they start getting frightened and challenged by a simple refrigerator, I just couldn't anymore. In short, they died. Now, the meta-narrative has actually one redeeming factor. This man right here. I have no clue what his name is in the film or outside of it. However, he is the unsung hero of this trash. I find him actually funny, unlike the video jokers, and his acting was the best of the entire project. The entire plot, he's just trying to find ways to be cheap and eventually gets arrested.
FBI agent Dennis Tamlin, you're under arrest for 217 counts of racketeering, bestiality, and impersonating a mailman.
That's illegal?
It's a federal offense, you know.
I meant the bestiality.
The film itself is bad with some very poor acting and a plot that I think is broken even if it was finished. It's hard to criticize effects as again, the project is unfinished. I suppose the sets look nice enough and the props are okay. The story, acting, and general feel of the film is what kills the segments. No one really feels invested in it and seems to just be there because they need a paycheck. However, as bad as it was, the film was only made worse by the presence of the video jokers. They essentially try to be Mystery Science Theater 3000, but just fail in every possible way. I mean, there's being unfunny, which is bad enough, but they just become downright despicable and made me not want to watch any more of the film. I think they had one decent joke, but I'll be damned if I'm about to sit through all this shit again just for one joke. They only stood out because it was a kernel of corn and a turd. Also, the two just become downright mean-spirited towards the actors with little in the way of justification, if any at all. I honestly feel bad for Mancini. Maybe he actually had something with his vision for the script he wrote, but it got trampled on. I should add that one source I found stated that the producers told Mancini the director ran off with the script. How true is that? I can't really say. I can, however, say that the final Frankenstein result is just plain garbage and a waste of space on your shelf if you own it. Don't sell it to anyone, don't donate to charity, don't even hand it off to a friend. Just let it rot or simply burn it. The only good it could serve is as a brief source of heat. I should add that this film is titled the same everywhere I could find its release, and its first release was a DVD premiere in Japan of all places, 4th of April 2014, while the United States saw the final premiere also on DVD, 2nd of June 2015. Sorry Mancini, I think you tried your best with what you were dealt, but there is only so much one can polish a pile of shit.
I got a letter from Bulvania.
A letter?
Mm-hmm. Upshot is they didn't take the script with them, so they're making it up as they shoot.
What? We can email them a new script.
Yeah, there's no Wi-Fi in Bulvania.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.